What does weight loss mean for you, Susan?
Weight loss now looks completely different than weight loss did, let's say 20 minutes ago, 20 years ago, 10 years ago. I'm always going to be in that, I feel like I'm always going to have that battle because I literally came out of my mom 9 pounds, 9 ounces.
So 5 kilograms plus minus.
Yeah, like I was a giant baby. It never got better. And so since a very, very young age, I've just dieted and probably killed my metabolism up and down, up and down. And so for the better part of my life, I was either some sort of overweight, obese, morbidly obese. I am literally 5'3", and at one point, I was 275 pounds.
Okay.
I was a circle.
Okay. So what did that do to your mental when you are in that body?
That was horrible, actually. It was harder mentally than it was physically, because something you probably won't believe is when I was like, I don't know, 220, 230, 240, I was certified to teach step class. Like I was teaching step aerobics. And it's, it was just a normal. That's all I knew. I was always heavy. So I did everything in that normal capacity. But I will never forget stepping on that scale for my physical while I was pregnant. And I stepped on and they moved that huge one like gong. And I was crying. And they were just like, they were probably thinking it was like hormones because I was pregnant. And in reality, it was, I don't have a 100-pound baby. Like that's not baby weight. That's my weight. And after I had my first child, I lost that weight really quickly. But I continued to do the whole yo-yo thing for many more years. And I had done every fad diet in the book. And it's crazy that we use the word diet the way we do. Mo, talking to you earlier, I'm sure the whole idea of diet means loss of weight, when in reality, diet is your nutrition. And you shouldn't think of any sort of diet. It should just be lifestyle. It's got to be something that is sustainable that you do every single day.
Crazy.
And right?
Yeah, when I tell my mom I'm on a diet, she would die on spot, I think. But we all just think it's about losing weight. Great. So.
Right? So for me, it was, I had an opportunity. I had a client that was doing bariatric work. It was very, very new, and it was called a lap band, which is short for laparoscopic. And it is literally a band that kind of goes around your stomach. So you have like the small part up here and then the other part here, and it's like a band. And you can retract and contract that band to make it tighter. Anyway, long story short, what it did for me was it was still just a tool, which is what all these fad diets are. They're tools. But when you find a tool that works for you and you can use it sustainably and you consistently, it will work for you. And that's the difference between everything I did prior. And I wonder if maybe, you would think at 275, I hit my bottom, right? And it just wasn't. So, I did a lot of yo-yoing after that. And finally, I had the lap band and I got to about 200. And I had a doctor say to me, like, don't you think that you'll lose more? And I was like, I really don't think so. I don't feel like I've never been under 200. That's here, right? And so right after that, one day my family came home. I had my own agency and my family came home and I said, I'm just going to go out for a walk. You guys eat dinner. It's on the table. I'll be right back. Strap on my music. and I've just got like flip-flops on. It's Texas. It's very temperate. And I walk down the street and walk back. It's like a mile, but it's just more about the music and getting away and clearing my head. A year later, I go back to my doctor and he was like, I thought you said you weren't going to lose more weight. And I said, I'm not. I didn't. What are you talking about? I had lost 60 pounds. 60. So that's literally getting out on that walk that day, just a walk. I was in flip-flops. So I went from flip-flops to, ooh, this is a great song. Maybe I'll do one more loop. Did another loop. I had a blister on my toe. Maybe I should wear sneakers. Next time I wore sneakers. It's getting chilly. Maybe I should wear track pants. I'll just wear track pants. I'm not working out. I'm just going to go for track pants. Next thing I know, I'm like, what would happen if I jogged to that mailbox, right? Jog to the mailbox. The next day, I'm like, well, I have to jog to the mailbox, and I've got a stitch, and I'm like, oh gosh, that hurts. And now it's like cold here. And in Texas, believe me, you have 2 days of cold, but it's still cold, right? And so I thought, what would happen if I joined a gym? My daughter needs to be around children. She'll go into the nursery. I'll be at the gym. So now I'm at the gym every day. From there, I'm like, what would happen if I got a trainer just to, gain a little muscle? Just, what about a trainer? Half an hour a week. I'd lost 60 pounds. The smallest thing has so unintentionally put me at, where I want to be today. I'm 55 plus. I'm 55 years old, and I'm at 140 pounds, and I'm in the best mental and physical health of my life. And I attribute it all to that one walk around the block. One walk turned into removing 100 pounds of shame. It was pretty amazing. Just consistency.
How inspirational and motivational can one person be? First of all, congratulations, Susan, for everything you've achieved. And while listening to your story, it completely blew my head off, because you hear these stories about just drive to the gym, drive back home. You don't need to train, just first do a little walk. And as soon as you can do that for a week, go in there for maybe 2 minutes, lift one weight and go back out of there. And my main problem with this method, I heard about it, but I have a big problem with it, because at least in my generation, there is only all or nothing. We only are athletes at the moment, or we are fat or lazy or anything in between. And the biggest problem I have when I would do something like that, I'm on a challenge right now, doing 90 days of every single day doing something sports-wise. So 3 days a week I'm in the gym, 2 days a week I'm doing calisthenics, working rather bad, doing good, and 2 days I'm going running. And the whole motto was do as much as you can, but in the lowest thing. So in the gym, I'm only 30 minutes. I'm only running for 30 minutes. Only. And every time I underestimate myself willingly, I feel like I wasted something. Do you know what I mean? When I go to the gym and drive back home, I will sit at home and ask myself, why didn't I go in? I was already there. And all of this stuff. And then, of course, I hate myself for it, and the whole spiral goes down the road, and the next time I don't even drive to the gym again. So how can you, long story short, how can you cope
crazy,
with
right?
that? Yeah. How did you go through it mentally? Just saying, yeah, I went on a walk yesterday, and some people would not even consider it a walk when it's not 2-3 miles.
Right. And I think that's what the difference is for me. I think I had already I was stuck in like this whole I was paralyzed in that paradigm that if I'm not doing everything, I'm doing nothing. Mm-hmm. And for me, it was truly about just getting outside, listening to some music, clearing my head so I could come back home to my family and be clear-headed and present for them. And that one walk, that one thing I did for me, which is what we have a bad habit of not following through as moms, professionals, wife, all the things, is that we find it difficult to do for ourselves without some string attached. Like we almost feel like we have to be sick to do something for ourselves or to ask for help. And in that moment, every single time, like just kind of upping the ante, that was something I had in me. It's just something that I do. Like, okay, if I did it this day, I have to do it again the next day. But what would happen if I didn't run to that mailbox, but I ran to the next mailbox? But I'll never not do the one thing I've already done. So I have to kind of top it a little bit. And literally, Mo, it was so unintentional, but what it taught me was do something. Just do something. It doesn't have to be everything like what you just said. You're like, it's like when people will be on a diet and they have a cheat meal. Have the cheat meal, get right back on. But instead, they just think, well, I've already blown it. I'm going to take the rest of the week off and I'll start again on Monday. Why? You had a cheat meal. Don't dwell in it. Hop back on, get back on, have a healthy dinner, and it's fine. And that, I think what follows constantly when you fall off the wagon or whatever it's called, this shame that follows it is just cuts you down, and you end up completely sabotaging yourself for the rest of the day, the rest of the week, the rest of the month, whatever it is. It's so easy to fall off, so hard to get back on. So
Definitely.
You almost have to get back on right away.
Damn. Okay, so when this comes out, the challenge is long gone, so I can already say this. The calisthenics days are more of a stretch days because I don't really plan them as good as I wanted. So I'm fine with doing 5 sit-ups on those days in a week, and I hate myself for that, actually. I hate is a big word, but every single day I ask myself, why didn't I do real calisthenics? Why just this little thing? And I always know why, because I didn't plan what I wanted to do, or I'm not in the right surroundings, or I'm not where today I have something with friends. It is so easy to get those excuses. And like you just said, when you don't act on those missteps right away, your missteps get to be the new habit in some way.
100%.
So you just told me to ask myself why, and next day just hop on it again. But that is maybe a bit easier said than done. So what are tricks or tips that people could do to make it a bit easier on themselves to start again with their diet, their health journey, or anything like that?
Whatever it is, do the bare minimum. We're all different, and that's what makes us all beautiful, right? But for me, if like I have a one of my daughters is her boyfriend feels really horrible about himself, and I said, her name is Dutch, and I said, Dutch, tell him to just do 5 push-ups. 5. It'll take 5 seconds, right? Just do 5 push-ups, because that might give him some fire to say, that wasn't horrible. I'll do 5 push-ups again tomorrow. But start small, and then all of a sudden you start compounding on top of that. So maybe 5 push-ups turns into 5 push-ups and 5 sit-ups. Then the next day, 5 push-ups, 5 sit-ups, and you walk a mile. And all of a sudden you find that you're compounding. And then I would stop. I'd be like, just do those 3 things. And then after you've made that into a true habit, then a month, then you're in it for that 13 days. Then you're like, okay, now I'm going to do 2 miles, or I'm going to do 10 pull-ups or 10 sit-ups, whatever it is. But allow yourself to make that habit. And again, something my husband loves to say is the best workout is the one you'll do. So where Mo, you're young and very fit and all the things, you're going to be able to do X, Y, and Z, where a 55-year-old woman might be able to just do X. But if I do X every single day and let's say somebody else goes, well, I can do A, B, C, D, E, F, and G, but they only do it one day. There's no rhythm to it. You're not building a discipline. You're not building a consistent, sustainable plan. And that plan, you said it earlier, that plan is everything. As soon as you have that plan, then you have a consistent way of moving forward, moving that ball down the field, but also you'll start seeing the physical and feeling the mental. And it all makes it worth it. And you're like, I can't give this up now. I mean, I went from working out 3 days a week to now I work out 7 days a week, but I have to because I'm older and it's so much harder to stay healthy. And it's not about being skinny. It's about being strong. It's about being fit mentally, physically, spiritually. It's so much more, because all of a sudden that physical, when you feel good about your physical, it helps here. And then this helps you in relationships, your job. It's just a rolling well of greatness in your life when you start getting your house in order.
Wow. Okay. Thanks for that. You said something earlier when you told me about your story that you always topped it a little bit. From day to day, you did a bit more than the day before. But of course, there comes the day, nevertheless, where the ceiling is reached.
Right.
How do you handle that? When you're now in there 3 weeks, you topped yourself from going a mile to walking 5 miles every day, but you don't have more time in your day. That is the end at the moment that you can do. It needs to be stunning, or at least a bit, a little downer for your whole journey. How do you cope with that?
I totally hear what you're saying. And I think what I didn't say earlier is there's always got to be something else. And I think for me, like currently right now, I, with the holidays, there is way more indulgent eating and drinking and not all the working out. So right now, I am working out more than I usually do because I want to stay healthy and not put on that weight that then I have to make my resolution to lose for 2026. So right now I am working out 7 days a week. In fact, today I did aerobics and then I went for a 5-mile walk because I knew I almost need to bank some good behavior, because I know that bad behavior, comes Saturday when we have date night and a party to go to, and I'm going to eat and drink and communicate and have, so much fun with all my friends. And I'm not going to feel guilty about it, because if I don't do it that way, if I say I'm going to be good every single day, I can do that 100%. But as soon as I fall off, which is what I did in my entire life, as soon as I fall off, then I slide back, and all of a sudden I've gained 15 pounds and I don't feel good about myself. My clothes are tighter. So for me, I do allow myself to have 1 day a week to where I am focused. Like I love to bake, because I live with people that have super sweet. They love the sweets. And so I bake for them.
Yeah.
And I will look at that, Mo, and I'll say, I'm going to eat that. I'm going to eat 17 of those cookies on Saturday. So during the week, I'm like, be good, be good, be good, be good, be disciplined, do what you're supposed to do. But on Saturday, I'm going to finish all those cookies. Then I get to Saturday, I pick up that cookie, I eat that cookie. I'm like, ooh, that's so good. And then I'm like, I'm satisfied. I worked hard all week. I got to satisfy myself with the one cookie instead of having the 17. It's almost like a kind of a mind game I do play with myself, but it's not as if I don't know that I'm not playing with myself. But I get to Saturday, and because I have taken off all that weight, there is a push-pull, and I have a better relationship with food now than I did way back when. Now I do enjoy food. I enjoy all food, good, bad, vegetables, fruit, protein. I enjoy every single thing. But my relationship with food is very, very different today. Today, right before I went for a walk because I needed some calories, I literally grabbed some turkey and just got some calories in me so I could go for a good walk. Whereas before, my mindset was more, I live to eat. Now I eat to live. So the calories that I'm taking in is just to almost get them in so that I can do what I need to do. Versus before, it's like, oh, what am I going to eat today? Or I cheated today, or I cheated yesterday, so I'm gonna forget about it, and I'm gonna give myself the rest of the week. There's just so many different nuances that come when you've truly learned that discipline and truly learned who you are, and you're honest with yourself, and you know where you have to make changes to get to that end goal and make it a lifestyle versus a diet. And it's taken, I'm 55, Mo. I came out of my mom at 9, and it's never gotten easier. I just had to be honest with myself and say, I have a bad relationship with food. So when you're honest with yourself and you're honest with the people around you, so they know where you're going to trip up, where you might need the help. Please don't sabotage me because you know that food is my trigger. It just all kind of comes together, but you've got to be honest with yourself first. And you've just got to find whatever that is that motivates you and gets you there to do the one little thing that will have giant impact for the rest of your life.
We will get back to the relationship with food because I would love to dive into that because, as you know, I have a bit of another perspective on it. Before that, I wanted to talk about your mindset shifts. You told me you go a whole week disciplined, and then on the weekends you have one cookie. I am in kind of the same life situation right now. So I'm living in Munich normally. I'm born there. I'm raised there. My whole family, my friends, my girlfriend, all is over there. My studies, on the other hand, are in Ravensburg. It's a city completely on the other side of Germany, 2 hours from there. So under the week, I'm always over here studying, doing the podcasts and so on. And on the weekends, I'm with family, friends, doing some events and all of that stuff. So when I'm here in Ravensburg, I'm completely disciplined. It's so easy to do the podcast, do the work for the studies, do the gym sessions. The calisthenics, so we just dropped that down on the table. But everything else is easier than it is in Munich. As soon as I'm over there in the old surroundings where I have always been a big gamer and everything, so it's pretty much all back to the old when I'm over there. And I let myself fall in the sense. So I'm just doing stuff with the girlfriend, of course, going for the walks and the little runs that I'm in right now in the challenge. But if I wouldn't have the challenge, I wouldn't do anything. So I always have the weekend as the kind of celebration for being disciplined throughout the week. So it's always this mindset shift. Over the week, I'm completely disciplined, can do my to-dos, no problem. On the weekends, I'm letting myself fall as a celebration for the week. But damn, is it hard. It's so hard to shift between those mindsets. And then on Monday, I'm back in Ravensburg, but still with the mindset from Munich. The whole flat looks like a bomb has been exploded in here and all of that. So how do you know, or how can you get satisfied from this 1 week? Because for me, it's always hard work. And then on the weekends, I see, wow, it doesn't have to be that hard if I just don't care. And so it's always this bit of an illusion that you don't need to work hard to have a happy life. Of course, I know it doesn't benefit me in any way because at the end of the day, all I eat is trash. But still, you understand my problem here?
Oh, it's a page out of my book, Mo. That's what I'm saying. And is it hard? Yes. Like, because I can tell you, like, when I wake up Saturday, there are, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I'm disciplined. Saturday is usually my cheat day. Sunday, I'm right back on it. So Sunday to Friday, I'm disciplined. And my coffee is very different on Saturday than it is on the rest of the days. So the days that I'm disciplined, I have very, very little additive to my coffee because I don't want those calories. I don't want to have to log those calories. And so I know that the minute I get up on Saturday, I'm going to have the yummy coffee. I'm going to spend all day not worrying about my app, my Fitness Pal app. I'm not going to open it. I'm not going to log any calories, nothing. But then I know as I'm getting ready to end the day on Saturday, I'm like, oh, I have to go back tomorrow to being good. Like I have to have like the boring coffee and the that and the that.
Yeah, it sucks.
But yeah, it does suck. And that idea sucks. But then once I'm in it on Sunday and then Monday and Tuesday, like it's just normal. But it's that Saturday transition into Sunday going, oh, tomorrow I have to go back to being good. And you're right. It's like, damn, this is hard. But at the end of the day, Mo, we do it because our end game is to be healthy and strong and living a healthy life that we choose to do. Because I know that for me, I have daughters and I want to see them get married. I want to be a grandparent someday. And I don't want to be watching them from the couch. I want to be down on the floor playing with them. And so I make sure like I'm constantly doing research. Like I've, probably for 3 months now, we don't just go to the gym and work out. We go to the gym and work out. My husband and I do it together. We sit in the sauna. We get in the cold plunge. I know that's a huge thing for you crazy Germans. Like you guys are so healthy. You guys were doing it long before we were. We just caught up. Europeans have always understood mental and physical health. You didn't know you did, but you just did.
I hate cold showers over everything, and it has been the first challenge on my YouTube channel. It's the first video of them all about cold showering 30 days in a row. And I kind of learned to like it a little bit, but now in the winter times, and especially with the muscle recovery harming stuff that cold showers bring in, I'm not doing it right now. But I would say that I'm resilient enough to get back on it as soon as I want to. But at the moment, I just want to gain muscle, and that would be something in the way. So it's on and off track. At least that's something I tell myself. But yeah, we're not that big into cold plunges. The most people on TikTok and cold plunges are on my For You page, at least from America, or Canada.
Really?
The most are from Canada. Yeah,
those crazy Canucks. Like we actually have he was one of the trainers, or he was like the right hand man and at the Mavericks, and he understood everything. And I told him I'm up to 9 minutes in the cold plunge. He was like, you only need to do 6. I was like, oh really? So he was like, yeah, but that's what they taught the athletes. Like they were doing cold plunge. And I was like, oh, so I don't have to do 9 minutes anymore, because like I had worked my way up and I hate being cold. I would much rather be sweating and hot 10 days out of 10. But I understand for the recovery part of it. So we go literally from the sauna into the cold plunge, and I hate it, Mo. I think it's the worst part of my gym experience every single time, but I do it because I understand that there is great science behind it, and the longevity of something. I know it's not hurting me for sure.
It's definitely one of the healthiest things you could do, especially because of the high heart rate and the the simulated stress and the white blood vessels that go just through. But on the other side, of course, it harms your muscle recovery a little bit. It's not like you will never gain muscle if you do gain cold showers, but it is a factor in bringing it a bit back. So when you do a muscle workout and you tear those muscles, going into a cold plunge right afterwards or going into the whole recovery hurts the whole protein intake and all of that stuff a little bit. About 10 to 12%, I think, recent studies shown. But that's not, so please Google that on your own, listener and viewer, if you're at home. I don't have the right numbers in my head right now, but it's a little bit like that.
Right.
Okay.
I will have to do I'm going to have to do some more research on that, because it is like, I would love to give it up and go, you know what, this isn't helping my muscle intake.
Having a big and good excuse for it. Yeah, I found it. So
thank you. I'm going to pull that out on actually Thursday would be the next time I'd be cold plunge. I'm like, nope, today was my weightlifting. I'm going to have to give up the cold plunge.
Talking about excuses, I hate eating. I have never had a good relationship with food. I hated it. Yeah, McDonald's and Burger King and all of those fast food chains, they yes, taste good, but at the end of the day, I still feel like shit afterwards. So either I'm going to McDonald's, get something that I actually like and have ill days for the next 3 days, or I'm cooking something more for myself, and I will never be satisfied with the stuff I cook, because at the end of the day, for me, it's always more outtake than that I gain. So there is more hustle and more things I need to do with my bread, because I'm not good at a cook. And so for me, I just hate the whole nutrition part at the end of the day. And most of the time when I need to get my calories in, I go to the next supermarket and get a whole pack of nachos and eat the whole 150 grams of it. I think that's about 1,500 kilocalories in there, and still I can't gain weight. So I really try everything. I also tried tracking it or getting over 4,000 calories a day. And I did that for a whole month, and then my stomach completely, just went through. I don't want to talk about it. So since then, it's back to normal. And now, after 55 days of constant protein levels and sport levels and doing all the to-dos, it's the first time that I gained 2 pounds of muscle. It's the first time that I'm over 76 kg or 150 pounds. So that's the first time in my life, and I nearly cried 2 weeks ago when I saw that on the weight. Yeah, it was a very emotional moment. It's the first time that I can say I'm 150 pounds. So you had a different relationship to eating. How does it feel for you? Because it feels a bit embarrassing, but sometimes I wish that I could be bigger.
Well, it's crazy that we're at opposite ends of that, right? When you think about like we are yin and yang right now. And for me, my relationship with food was always emotional eating. So it's not necessarily that I was hungry. I ate when I was sad, I was happy, I was celebrating, I was mad, I was glad. Didn't matter. Food was my go-to. And you know, being in school, it's funny because I was on another podcast. It was also a health podcast, and she asked me, she goes, "How did you get through school not being bullied?" And I thought about that, and I'd never been asked that, and I realized like something about being overweight made me have to rely on a lot of other things. So I have the best sense of humor, if you can't tell now.
I can.
Definitely. I'm the funniest person in Texas. There were a lot of things that I had to fall back on. I had to be everybody's best friend. I had to be there for everybody. I had to be the funny person. And that taught me how to have great relationships. And there are many, many, many things I do wrong. One thing I don't do wrong is relationships, because that's all I had. Like, I didn't have boyfriends because if I even got close to a boyfriend, I sabotaged it. Like, I was like, ooh, he's going to end up leaving me because he's going to see that I'm fat, like as if he didn't already see I was fat, right? And that's, the thing that you do to yourself. And you are your worst friend. If I had a friend that spoke to me the way I spoke to myself, we wouldn't be friends. The horrible stories that I would tell myself, they were atrocious. And it's interesting because I've gotten better about it now. Like, I've consistently had those bad conversations with myself and told myself horrible things. And in the end, I look back and it's because I was so heavy, which is how I honed those skills of being a great friend, because I didn't have a boyfriend. Even going to the mall, we'd all go to the mall and everybody's shopping. I'm not shopping. I'm just there for everybody. Because what am I going to shop for? Perfume, bags, shoes? Not shopping for clothes in front of anybody, because there's a shame. I can't shop where they shop. So I say all that because those are all the things that play into being heavy. There are things that, and I'm sure you had those same kind of issues, but yours were the opposite, where I couldn't shop in certain areas because I was too heavy. You didn't want to shop probably with people because you weren't heavy enough, right?
Yeah. Thinking about it, it has been the same problems, but out of another reason. It's crazy to think about it. Just hearing you talk, I always try to make everybody a friend and everything, because I was not one of the big or strong or the fastest or anybody of that. Yeah, wow. So at the end of the day, it's really the same problems, just with another reason behind it.
It's a different symptom, but it's the same thing. And Mo, like, as soon as we got onto this, this platform, it's like I've known you for 10 years because you're so approachable. You're so kind and warm. And those are things, at the end of the day, they're your blessings. We may have gotten here in a different way, but look at how young you have, this huge life ahead of you. And you're a wonderful person. Like, you are so warm. Like, as soon as I got on here, they're, every time I meet a new podcaster or I'm guesting with them, we're all going to be very different people. And I have to tell you, you are so warm and so kind and inviting. And it's literally like I'm talking to one of my kids' friends. Like, it's just very natural. And you have honed that skill of leading with your heart, because you're in here about what maybe your physical looks like. What I see is a beautiful human being. And, and again, those are the stories we tell ourselves is, oh, what do they see? What are they looking at? Do you know, Mo, that when I was at my heaviest and I was married, the first time, and we would go to the beach, go anywhere, and I'd have my swim shirt. So it'd be a shirt that had the sleeves cut off, and it would go over my swimsuit, because if I had that swimsuit on, it was kind of like my invisible cloak, right? If I have this swim shirt on, no one can see how heavy I am, because I don't want anybody looking at this gross person that I am. No one's looking at me, right? They're worried about themselves. They're on the beach and in two little pieces of fabric. They're worried about how they look. They are not looking at me. But what I told myself was, they were all going, gross. What is she doing in a swimsuit? So I had my swim shirt, and that was my courage. That was the only way I would go out into public with the swimsuit on, because I had my swim shirt on and nobody could see how heavy I was. It's the things we tell ourselves.
Thank you very much for changing the course of my life and blowing my head off once again. I say that sentence very, very often, but I really mean it. Suizan Schacherer, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for all of the insights. I really, really, really view a lifelong problem now differently. Thank you so much. Where can people go to connect with you, get to know you a bit better, or keep up with your work?
I will send you in case there's anybody that's looking to have a longer conversation about where they can go about their weight loss. I have webinars, and I will send you that link. But I look forward to talking to anybody. I think that we learn so much about ourselves when we talk to other people and we have dialogues. So, Mo, I thank you. Like, it's crazy to talk to someone that had the opposite life of me, and here we are. And I thank you.
Thank you so much for your time.
Have a good one.